ready for the invocation?
No.
Gotcha. Yes.
That is my
You say
nightmare.
That reminds me of that movie where
Oh, the Holy
yes.
You're just jealous because I was chatting topics all day. My daughter loves that movie, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. My father-in-law doesn't watch movies, but he does. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for making it out tonight. Really appreciate everybody coming to tonight's meeting. It's my privilege, my honor, and my duty to call to order the Monday, March 9th, 2026 Royal Oak City Commission meeting to order. We're going to begin with an invocation given by Commissioner Colo, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I ask that you stand if you can, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we begin tonight's work, I want to take a moment and recognize that March is Women's Month, Women's History Month, and yesterday was International Women's Day. One thing that unites every person in this room, and indeed every person in this community, is that we all came from a woman. Tonight, I want to recognize the strong women who have helped shape the story of Royal Oak. Just 4 years after the 19th Amendment passed, Royal Oak elected its first female commissioner, Commissioner Mabel Baldwin. Commissioner Baldwin served as Township Treasurer and was a prominent businesswoman. She owned property at 310 South Main Street, the site of the former Royal Oak Theater, which for years was the city's only motion picture showcase. It was not until Royal Oak was celebrating its 60th anniversary that we elected our first female mayor, Mayor Barbara Hallman. Mayor Hallman was first served as a commissioner and was known for her dedication to civic life and engagement with her community. The plaza at Satellite Commons, home to the Star Dream sculpture and the Veterans Memorial, is named in her honor. Our second and most recent female mayor was elected in the 1980s, Pat Perouche. Yes, you heard that right. Our most recent female mayor was elected the same year the Berlin Wall fell. That's a piece of history I think we can all agree is a little older than it should be. Now, I could spend the entire evening talking about Pat Perouche and her contributions to the city, but to avoid crying tonight, I'm going to not get too deep into Pat, but I think it's enough to say she was a force over 4 decades of service to our community. I was honored to learn from Pat as a young commissioner. When Pat spoke, you listened. She did not waste her words. As an accomplished attorney, she was thoughtful and deliberate with her reasoning. And as a engaged resident, she's always kept the needs of fellow Royal Oakers at the forefront of every decision. She truly represented the very best of public service. During her final years on the commission, Commissioner Perouche served on a female majority commission. Those commissioners would go on to mark other milestones. In 2020, Commissioner Monica Hunt became the first person of color to serve on the Royal Oak City Commission, and later became Mayor Pro Tem. In that role, she presided over the first all-female city commission meeting in the history of our city, alongside Commissioners Cheatham, Douglas, Herzog, and Macy. These leaders remind us that representation matters, not because of politics, but because of possibilities. Every time a young person sees someone who looks like them serving their community, expands what they believe is possible for their own futures. And across our country, there are many people looking at the state of our leadership and wondering how things might look different if more women were sitting at the table making the decisions. So I believe it's fitting to conclude tonight's remarks with words from Commissioner Perouche from one of her final invocations here. She said, "May we all go forward tonight feeling blessed that we can bear witness to the accomplishments of so many, including those in our community whose years of experience lit our path forward. Let their legacy light our way forward." Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Colo, for a very touching invocation. You know, we can never talk about Pat Perush too much. All right, that brings us to item 4, which is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone wish to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda as it's been presented? We have a motion by Commissioner Hunt. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Cheatham. Is there discussion on this motion? All right, with none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. We have an agenda. All right, that brings us to public comment. Just a few ground rules before we commence. The Commission both values and relies upon the input of our fellow citizens to help make decisions. Now is the time set aside for the public to address the City Commission on any city-related issue, whether or not it's on the agenda. I ask that comments be directed to the City Commission as a whole and not to individual commissioners. The city has made it easier for you to request follow-up on an issue. Simply scan the QR code you see displayed or sign in with staff in the lobby at the meeting tonight before speaking at public comment. We also have our outstanding world-renowned community engagement specialist, Judy Davids, there to also take your name and information if you have a question or wish to get an answer to those. Sometimes people come up here, ask questions. We want to get you the answer, and there's no way to get a hold of you. So if you can leave your information, that would be great. If you wish to speak tonight at public comment, please wait until recognized by me, the mayor, then come up to the podium. For the record, we will ask you to state your name and address, and please be mindful that we wish to hear from anyone who wants to speak tonight, so comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker, not per topic. We do have a timer at the podium to help you keep track of your time. If you don't wish to speak tonight, no problem. You can try the QR option, or you can always email staff or email myself or the commissioners, and we'll do our best to get back with you. Please note that the City Commission typically doesn't respond to questions during public comment. However, we are taking notes, and when that agenda topic comes up, we will ask those questions on your behalf. If your questions or comments aren't related to anything on tonight's agenda, again, we're taking notes, and as well as the interim city manager, and we will do our best to get it to the right department to get you the right answer you deserve. With that, who wishes to speak first tonight? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Kathleen Simlar. I work for AARP Michigan. I don't live in Royal Oak. I live in Milford. I'm here to, quite frankly, raise the alarm about a kind of crypto fraud that has become a growing threat across the country, including right here in Royal Oak. You've probably seen these crypto ATMs or kiosks at gas stations and party stores. If you search for them on Google Maps, you'll see they're peppered throughout your community. They look just like any regular ATM, but they're increasingly being used to defraud people of their hard-earned money. In fact, cryptocurrency kiosk fraud is skyrocketing right now. According to the FBI, in 2024, Michiganders lost more than $125 million to these scams, and we think that's underreported. And 85% of those victims were over the age of 60. And that has gotten AARP's attention. Older people are clearly in the crosshairs for these scams, and that should make you pause since more than 1/5 of your population falls within that demographic. Here's how these scams work. Someone calls or texts claiming you owe money, and they always frame their message with a sense of heightened urgency. You're told to deposit cash in a crypto kiosk. Usually they're on the phone with you as you go to it, and then you're instructed to give them the code that appears on the screen. The money is then converted instantly into cryptocurrency and transferred digitally over and over again, making it almost impossible to trace. Quite often the scammer will keep the victim on the hook, sending them back to crypto machines again and again. And unlike credit card fraud, this money is nearly impossible to recover. Incredibly, some studies have shown that 93% of transactions on these crypto machines are scams. 93%. Last summer, you may have seen a story on the news about a retired teacher in Traverse City who deposited more than $48,000 of her life savings into a crypto kiosk after being contacted by someone who claimed they were from PayPal's fraud department. Her money was never recovered. Crypto kiosk fraud is a problem that needs to be on your radar. It is a fast-growing fraud industry that the impacts are profound, especially when the victims are older and at a point in their lives when they're least able to recover financially. But there is hope. Communities across Michigan, like Sterling Heights and Grosse Pointe Farms, have already put in place common protections like daily or monthly limits for how much money can be put into these machines. Tonight, I'm asking you to join them and to codify these protections. On behalf of AARP, I brought a model ordinance that I gave to the deputy clerk that can protect your residents from this kind of fraud, and I ask that you look at it and consider it. As elected officials, you have the power to protect your residents, and AARP is urging you to do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Mr. Ashley?
Good evening, Alan Ashley, Royal Oak Manor. I notice on the agenda the person or the group that is doing Arts, Beats, and Eats is going to be here for another pass on Arts, Beats, and Eats. What I like this commission to do is ask him, after he says how much money he gets and gives to charities, how much did all the businesses lose? Because when he shuts down from the Monday before Arts, Beats, and Eats till the Wednesday after, that's 10 days. Those businesses on Washington and other business there, they start losing money immediately. Every salon, they lose money. Every store loses money. I would like to know how much money every one of those businesses, if you go to a salon, how much money each of those individuals in that salon lost money, because every one of those chairs is rented. They must make their living off of tips and what meager salary they make. So what I'm saying is, I would like to see a report from the Arts, Beats, and people, how much money all those businesses lost and subtract it from what they say they are going to give to charity. That is the true money that Arts, Beats, and Eats. But nobody has ever done that. I would like to see that happen. And I would like to see if he would go back to last year and give it. And then after Arts, Beats, and Eats this year, I would like to see how much money those businesses lost, because every one of those waiters and dishwashers and servers, they all lost money because they can't work at their job. A lot of those people are college students that go to ACC, University of Detroit, Oakland, and all these kids are earning money for college. Those 4 or 5 days when they have to almost shut down or laid off until after school starts hurts their pockets. So I'd like to have Arts, Beats, and Eats people report how much money was lost to every one of those businesses. And those businesses includes the individuals that work in their business. Nobody has ever asked that question to Arts, Beats, and Eats. Also, I'd like to thank the mayor for answering my email. I got a response from Judy Davies, and I'm waiting for the other half about the healthcare workers, because those people come sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a week. And those people have to pay for parking. They're there for a minimum of 45 minutes taking care of. Some get in the morning, but sometimes they have to take care of our people in the afternoon. So that means they have to come there 3 times. And if you, like when I had my hip replacement, I had a physical therapist 3 times a week come to my place so they can work on it. That is now becoming very expensive for them. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ashley. All right, anybody else tonight wish to speak at public comment? Ms. Wagman.
Janice Wagman. Regarding the parking out here and the kiosks, again, I'm going to talk about it. For some residents with disabilities, using a smartphone to pay for parking is simply not a realistic option due to mobility, dexterity, vision, or technology barriers. In those cases, the physical kiosk may be the only practical way for them. For them, it's not a choice. That's why the route from accessible parking spaces to the kiosk matters. If someone must travel from the entrance, cross traffic lanes, and navigate the lot just to pay, it isn't an inconvenience, but a real hardship and a potential safety concern. At the August 2020 meeting of the Royal Oak Democratic Club, a guest speaker from Detroit Disability Power discussed how the Americans with Disabilities Act was written more than 30 years ago, before many of today's technology-based systems existed, adding that the fact that something isn't specifically addressed in the law doesn't necessarily mean the barrier isn't real. So I'm going to make two suggestions. Make handicap parking free in the Civic Center lot only. You have other rules here, so you could adjust for that. Or place the kiosks at the entrances to City Hall, the courthouse, and the police station, similar to what we have over at Farmers Market. As an age-friendly and welcoming community, I hope you'll consider these ideas so our public facilities don't work just for most, but for everyone. And secondly, regarding the safety millage that was presented last week, at the last commission meeting, or last meeting, at the last one it was stated, this is a quote, "I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact in the presentation that of the total mills asked, 86% of the total is a renewal of the existing mills, which of course does not constitute any tax increase on the tax-paying citizen." This isn't true. Although originally the voters passed the full 3.975 mills, it has been rolled back by Headley, meaning passing the millage represents a 28% increase, not the 14% that was stated at the meeting. And also, since we hired an attorney to write the ballot proposal, I assume leaving out any reference to Headley is legal. But in the interest of transparency, I hope the letter you send to taxpayers will refer to the Headley Again? It's the second time you've done that while I've been talking. Refer to the Headley override as well as the increase. I'm not saying people should vote for or against it. I know the police really need this millage, but in the interest of transparency, I really think that you should put the factual information out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wagner. All right, who's next? Going once, going twice. Okay, we're going to bring the meeting back to this side of the table. Thank you for those who took time to participate in public comment. Now that closes public comment and brings us to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to pull anything off tonight's consent agenda? Okay, does anyone wish to make a motion for the consent agenda? Commissioner Chisholm makes a motion for the consent agenda, seconded by Commissioner Herzog. All right, discussion on the motion. All right. With none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Okay. Which brings us to item 7 tonight, which is the Michigan Liquor Control Commission licensed establishment Pink Tiger Enterprises, LLC, doing business as Rock and Brews, request for approval of plan of operation. Chief Michael Moore.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. The Royal Oak Police Department received a request from Pink Tiger Enterprises, LLC, to change their plan of operation. And specifically what they're asking for is to change their format, floor plan, and their doing business as name. If you'll recall, their former business, Club Christmas, opened back on November 26th of 2025 and then closed for renovations on or about January 4th of this year. They have plans to reopen after renovations on March 19th and do business as Rock and Brews. If approved, this new concept will operate as a rock and roll themed full-service restaurant and bar with table service. Their Scratch Kitchen will offer American fare, and the sales are anticipated to be 60% food to 40% alcohol. The proposed hours of operation are Monday through Wednesday from 11:30 a.m. until midnight, and Thursday through Sunday from 11:30 a.m. till 2 a.m. This new concept will operate on the building's all 3 floors. The first floor will offer seating for 127 patrons, which includes 15 bar seats. The second floor will offer seating for 133 patrons, which includes 19 bar seats. And the third floor will offer seating for 114 patrons, which includes 10 bar seats. A seasonal outdoor service area will be located adjacent to the building near the new 5th Street pedestrian plaza when that is completed. And Rock and Brews is also requesting to continue using the existing dance and entertainment permit agreements in accordance with their signed agreements as well. During the 6 weeks that Club Christmas was open, the police department did not respond to any calls for service. The applicants, as you're well aware, are longstanding operators in the city and operate 2 other MLCC licensed establishments in Royal Oak. And after a thorough review, the police department is not opposed to their request this evening. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. The applicants are here this evening as well if you choose to speak with them. So happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions for Chief Moore? Commissioner Colo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief, I just want to make sure I heard that right. So they did the soft launch that we had approved before for 6 weeks, plus 1 day. And the police department didn't have any issues with them, even when they had like temporary staffing up?
During the first 6 weeks of Club Christmas, we had absolutely no calls for service there. The soft launch, I believe we had 1 reported incident, but other than that, no police contact whatsoever.
Okay, so they've been, in the time that they've been in the city already, they've been operating well.
That's correct, and that also characterizes their other 2 establishments.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Any questions for the petitioner? Commissioner Colo?
Thank you, Mr. Yazbek, if you want to take a second here. So can you tell us the other establishments that you operate?
We operate Fifth Avenue. This is our 16th year there. And the 526 Main Dueling Piano Bar and Tequila Blue, this is our 9th year there.
Great. So you guys have been around town for a while. That's perfect because public comment came up. Actually, there's a question about Arts, Beats, and Eats and its impact on businesses. Can you tell us how it impacts you and your businesses?
We have a unique perspective because we open at Fifth Avenue the first Friday of the first Arts, Beats, and Eats in Royal Oak. And there was a line outside of our door at Fifth Avenue while we were finishing painting. And as you can see from the disparity in the caliber of our apparel, I'm the one that does the physical work, and Danny's more the administrative and tells me if that is acceptable or not. So I apologize for that. But there was a line out the door, and it's been wonderful ever since. Downtown Royal Oak is the entertainment mecca of Metro Detroit. And my understanding is, well, I know for a fact that since we opened, Arts, Beats, and Eats has been one of our favorite weekends, probably our favorite weekend, for the simple fact that it brings hundreds of thousands of people to downtown Detroit, to our doorstep, so that we can introduce our product. From what we've heard, prior to Arts, Beats, and Eats being in Royal Oak, that weekend, everybody goes out of town, and it was a ghost town. So we're very happy for Arts, Beats, and Eats. As you know, I'm on the DDA. We support Arts, Beats, and Eats because our goal is to bring people to the downtown. I don't think we do anything better than Arts, Beats, and Eats in terms of bringing people downtown. So that would be my answer. It's a gift and a blessing. And I think if you have 350,000 people at your doorstep on any given weekend and you don't know how to take advantage of that somehow, some way, I think you have to really reevaluate your business operation.
And for the record, that's one of our busiest weeks of the year monetarily, and the staff, it's one of their best weeks, obviously, also, and it's not even close.
That's great. I appreciate it's not often we have the ability to answer a public comment question with experts in the field, so I appreciate that. So when it comes to Rock and Brews, can you tell us about the concept, why you chose to invest in a third location in downtown Royal Oak and what you're bringing in.
Well, I wanted to say, because I think it's humorous, we're here for the final installment of our three-part series of 208 West 5th Street. We got involved in this next opportunity because we love what's going on here in downtown Royal Oak. As we've said many times, on and off the record, we have incredible leadership at this table that's guiding the downtown and the city of Royal Oak in a very positive direction. We are beneficiaries of that leadership with our two existing venues. This is a commission that looks at the future, looks at, and not just from behind the table, but you're active in the city. We are always excited when you stop into one of our places and the other places downtown and see for yourselves what's going on. We've been in Birmingham before. We've been in a few other places. There's no place like Royal Oak, as you know. There's community, there's support. Everybody's really rooting for you and for you to succeed. And I think we root for each other. So it's and when this opportunity presented itself, we said, yeah, let's dig in a little deeper and be even a bigger part of Royal Oak, the community, and I think that was our mindset.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
And we do have a picture. I don't know if.
Oh.
I was hoping somebody would ask for a picture, but we've had a few visitors, and the feedback has been very, very positive.
Let's just make sure you brought the right thumb drive.
Yes,
Okay, thank goodness.
Judy was smart; she checked it. This is the restaurant, the first floor. These designers from WROK and Brews are, wow, they really turned out to be brilliant, and it's a very unique design, very colorful, vibrant. We think the community is really going to enjoy it, and the food's fantastic. We've been doing a lot of tastings, they're training, and the food is better than we anticipated. So we're very, very excited to bring this to the city.
And we're also very excited to bring back live music to Royal Oak.
Yes.
The second floor, we're putting in a big stage, and we're going to make a real commitment to have live music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Good. We're very excited for that.
Good. All right. Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. Someone wish to... This is not a public hearing, correct? This is just a change of plan of operation.
That's correct. No public hearing this evening.
Okay. Okay. So we have something in front of us. Does anyone wish to make a motion? Commissioner Herzog.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Commissioner Herzog. A second by Commissioner Gantina. I'm looking left now. Now you guys see, before, everyone's like...
March is Women's Month, so just
Oh.
all the business can happen then.
I just thought I just had this overwhelming sense I can trust this side of the table. That's no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
All right, any discussion on the motion? All right, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. All right, congratulations. Look forward to checking it out. And I think the live music is something that we can't under or oversell enough. I mean, I think that's really something that, you know, from Arts Beats and Eats to the festivals, but on a regular daily basis, the whole community has been behind live music in our downtown. It's a form of art and expression, so we're excited about that. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, that brings us to item 8, which is a proposed amendment to special event permit for 2026 Taco Fest. Chief Moore.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. Jonathan Witz and Associates is requesting to amend the Taco Fest special event this year to include a cannabis sales and consumption area. This sales and consumption area will be located in the municipal lot at 3rd and William Street, adjacent to the WROK on 3rd. The activation area will be operated the same as in prior years, including the same security company, And this is the same security company that manages Arts, Beats, and Eats in their activation area. The cannabis partner for this event continues to be JARS. We've had no significant issues directly related to the activation areas in previous years, and overall, the police department remains neutral on this request. And if you agree, there's a resolution tonight for you to consider. As always, I'm happy to take any questions you might have. I know John Witz is here as well as the JARS representative, so if you wish to hear from them, they're willing to do so also.
Any questions for Chief Moore? Commissioner Gantina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So quick question in terms of your staffing needs. So obviously this was added to the event just a few years ago. Have you noticed that because of the addition of this that you've had to add additional staff just to, as there's one more element to the event, that you had to add additional staff, or do you have the same staffing numbers even with this addition?
I believe it was 2 years ago we increased our staffing needs by 2 police officers. I think the very first year we had 4 police officers and 1 supervisor, and due to crowd size, I think that more specifically than the activation center itself, just the amount of people in the area, we've increased it to 6 police officers and 1 supervisor from open to close throughout the event, as well as policing the rest of the city.
Anybody else? Okay. Anyone have any questions for the petitioner? Okay. We've got a proposal in front of us. Commissioner Chisholm?
I'll move approval.
A motion by Commissioner Chisholm. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Bastian. Discussion? All right, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. All right. And that brings us to item 9, which is the proposed amendment to special event for the 2026 Arts, Beats, and Eats. Chief Moore.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. Jonathan Witz and Associates is requesting to amend their Arts, Beats, and Eats special event to include a cannabis sales and consumption area for this year's event in 2026. The organizer is requesting to duplicate the activation area in the same fashion as he has the last 4 years. It will remain in the same alleyway, offer the same cannabis products, and utilize the same security company. Aside from several medical calls handled by the fire department, this consumption area has not caused any additional strain on the police resources. Overall, the police department remains neutral on this request as well. And before you this evening, there's 2 resolutions to consider. One to approve the cannabis sales and consumption area, and a second to waive the 1,000-foot proximity rule to seek a temporary marijuana event license from the CRA. Again, happy to take any questions you might have this evening, and I know the John Witz is here as well as the House of Dank representative if you wish to hear from them.
Questions for Chief Moore? Commissioner Hunt.
Thank you, Chief Moore. I understand that the medical calls, and this is if you know, the medical calls that came last year were due to a specific product that was being used. Do you know if that's still being used or if that has been eliminated from the rotation?
Yeah, that's been eliminated, and also the organizer has pledged to have a private EMS personnel assigned to the activation area, so the fire department is a second layered response if there are any medical emergencies.
Any other questions? Any questions for the petitioner? Okay. Anyone wish to make a motion? Commissioner Gantina? A motion by Commissioner Gantina. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Bastian. Discussion. All right, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. All right, brings us to item 10 tonight, which is request for authorization to submit an application for a Michigan Department of Natural Resources Recreation Passport Grant to fund Fernwood Park Playground Replacement. And we have Director McEachran here, and Ms. Martin is here as well. And
good evening, Mayor and Commission. So we are in the process of preparing a grant application to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for a recreation passport grant to fund new playground equipment at Fernwood Park. The current structure is one of the oldest in our system, originally installed in 1999. The new playground would be an inclusive design. The application would be for the maximum amount for the grant at $150,000. Playground replacement was listed as a project in the Recreation Master Plan as well as in the Capital Improvement Plan as part of a larger Fernwood Park improvement project. As part of the grant process, cities are required to get authorization from their governing boards for any application submissions. On February 5th, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board reviewed this item and passed a motion to approve the department's submission of the grant application. Now we are requesting commission approval for a submission. The project does require a city match. These matching funds will be requested in the 26-27 budget, but will not be utilized before determination is made on the grant award. This grant process is incredibly competitive. In the 2025 cycle, there were 57 applications, 15 grants were awarded. 3 of those were playground projects. The application is due April 1st. The grant decisions will be announced in December. Pending state budget allocations, this project could occur as soon as summer of 2027. If you wish to proceed with approval, a proposed resolution has been provided for you. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and Jill Martin is here as well to answer any questions you have about the grant process.
Questions? Commissioner Herzog.
Thank you. This is really exciting. So you just mentioned that this grant happens annually, correct?
Yes.
If we don't get this award, what are we going to do for this project?
Great question. So this Fernwood Park improvement is currently listed in the CIP, but it's a couple years out. So with the timeline of this grant, we wanted to pick a project that was in, year 2, 3. If we don't get this grant, it's unlikely that we would move forward with design in year 1. So the match we've put in for the budget is specifically, right now, it's specifically for design. So we would hold off on doing that design if we were not awarded the grant, and just because we wouldn't want to put the money towards it unless we had the grant. So we would have to evaluate what we wanted to do next steps, see if there's other grants out there we could go for, and kind of go from there.
And would we go for this grant again if we weren't awarded, or for a different project?
Well, Jill and I have a lot of ideas for different grants that are out there. There's a couple big grants through the DNR. We're not sure if we would go back for this project. It would depend on how we score on it, because they do provide the scores back to the cities. It's all public information. So if for some reason we score low on this, we may want to evaluate applying for this project again, or if we wanted to try to go for something else where we might score higher, or maybe there's changes to this particular project to try to get more points and be more competitive. I think it would just depend on how the scoring came back.
And then you just mentioned there's other grants out there. Mm-hmm. Are there other projects that we're looking to get grant funding for in the city?
Yeah, so this project for the DNR Recreation Passport is one that Jill and I felt comfortable pursuing this spring. There's another large DNR grant through the trust fund that it's a much more it's a much larger process for staff to put together, and we didn't feel we could put together a competitive grant this year. This one we felt more confident about putting together in a short time period. So yeah, there are definitely some potential projects to go for a natural resources trust fund grant, hopefully next year. So hopefully next year this time we'll be coming back to you for a project for that. I don't want to share right now which project it might be. We do have some ideas, but yeah, we're at a point now where Jill and I are working together on some possibilities. There's also some really cool green stormwater infrastructure projects in parks that we've been meeting with some different agencies about possible funding for, because parks are a great space to potentially do those projects. We've got 51 parks in Royal Oak, and there's potential to do a lot of cool things in them. So, and there's grants out there for some cool green infrastructure projects in them.
Wonderful. Just speaking to that, great partners would be, of course, Ms. Donahue, but the county water resource commissioner, SIGMCOG, is really looking at flooding and how to use land as a way to mitigate some of those issues. So I think these are really great, exciting things, and look forward to hearing about the exciting Michigan Trust Fund grant next year.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Commissioner Colo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I make a motion here, I want to read a letter that the Parks and Rec Committee received, and I think it's been passed on to city management. It's from a little girl who lives down the street from this park. So, dear Parks and Rec, I live in Royal Oak, Michigan, and when I was little, the swings at Fernwood Park were taken out. Now I'm 11, and the swings at Lincoln Club Park were taken out 2 years ago, and those parks are the only ones I can walk to. And now that they are out, the parks aren't as fun, and me and all the other kids in the neighborhood miss them too. I know that you guys are busy, but please try to do something. Signed, a kid who wants swing back. So, I think that's incredibly telling, and it's our youth who use the park who really give us an indication of like what we need in the parks. And I know that we reach out to them. Mayor Pro Tem Herzog and I actually hosted a bunch of kids in City Hall last year, talk about park design with Ms. Davids. And it's just great to get these different perspectives of what's needed in the parks from time to time. So this is one of the parks that Ms. Hadley here mentioned in her letter. And the fact that we've taken out swings, but haven't put them back yet, it's great that we're now looking at funding to do that. So I'm going to make a motion, though, that we approve the recommendation as presented, but also add a second motion that we direct staff to have swings installed at Fernwood Park by spring of 2027. So that if we do not get this grant, we're going to put swings in anyways. I know we would like to redo the entire park and build a nice $500,000 park as we should, but the funding isn't there. This is for the neighborhood. It's a micro need. You know, we do have 50-something parks, but in this neighborhood, those are the two that you can walk to. So that's my motion today, is that we approve the items as presented and direct staff to install a swing set by the spring of 27 if we do not receive this grant.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Colo. Is there a second?
Two motions?
Well, he said
It's
two
one. I'm
motions,
sorry, no,
but
it's
he's one with two
motion.
parts. Second by Commissioner Cheezy. All right. Before we discuss, I have a question from Commissioner Colo.
Yeah.
There are the swing sets back in the day that we had in our backyards that caused an incalculable amount of tetanus. And if you swing too hard, you'd fly backwards off out of the ground. And then there are the ones that are really robust and luxury and bougie. So what is your budget for this so we have an idea what the budget is? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be part and parcel with the motion, but what is your budget estimate so staff has an idea?
You know,
if
I think
this
staff can
passes?
look to Lockman Park where we did a similar motion a handful of years ago. If commissioners at the table might recall, we redid Lockman Park, and at the time we had taken out the swing set. And a mother came and described to us how those were needed and an essential function for her child. And we all agreed and empathized, and we directed staff to install it, and they were able to within 6 months or so. I forget the cost. I think it's anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000
Okay,
at the
so
time.
something akin to what we did at Lockman Park is
Exactly.
what the motion is envisioning.
Exactly, running the same play.
And that decision would come to us regardless, because I imagine it'd be over $10,000 or $20,000. If it's under 20, maybe the city manager approves it, but if it's above that, it would come to us as an approval in our probably consent agenda. It's small. Okay. Commissioner Herzog.
I have a question to Commissioner Colo as well. They explained that this is a competitive process, and so there is a chance that we might not get this grant, but that doesn't mean that we can't fund the park or maybe fund the park later on. Is the idea about this swing set that it will fit within whatever the design of this park will be, so that we're not putting a swing set in that will ultimately be then taken out because we did finally get this park funded for what the design was originally intended to be?
Yeah, Commissioner Herzog, I think we have an incredibly talented staff who is really good at doing design and would find a way to integrate whatever swing sets we do into a future park project. The CIP for parks projects is also about 10 pages long, so who knows when we do get to this park. So I think it's important that I would agree that they should look at the design that they're thinking about going with forward in the future and integrate that. I doubt that we would draw up the entire new park, but that could be a starting point for the next park engineers as they look to redo the park in the future. They know that this is a newer feature and they can move on past that.
I have a question, actually. I didn't think about this. We have a clean resolution that was proposed that would be sent with the grant application, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, I'm a sales guy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It kind of muddies the waters and said, oh, maybe they don't need it. They'll do a swing set
Hey,
anyways.
look, when I said it with two motions. I want to make that clear. You're the one that put it into one.
Do we want to maybe, let me make a suggestion.
Sure.
If everyone's up to it. Okay, I'll let you guys talk about it, but in that discussion, maybe we amend this motion just to get it back to the original. And then afterwards, we allow Commissioner Colo to make another motion that we can vote on, only because I mean, if I'm sitting in the grant room, I'd be like, oh, it's between Royal Oak and, you know, Rochester. Oh, well, they're going to do a swing set anyways. Let's just move that way. I don't want that to happen. Commissioner Gantina, then Commissioner Bastian.
So I think this question might be for the director, but kind of along the lines of the same theme we were just talking about. Is there the possibility, since we are continually doing work in a lot of our parks, right, taking out equipment, putting new equipment in, is there the potential to repurpose a swing set from a park that we're about to do work on with the understanding that it may be coming out in another year or so? Obviously, it would need to be something that's, you know, still viable, not dangerous, that sort of thing. But is there a potential there with any of the upcoming work that's happening to look at the equipment that's there to see if there's something that we could repurpose? Because I do think it is a noble ask of the child that was saying, hey, I just want a swing set back. But if there's this other planning coming up, it does put us in a little bit of a pickle. So if we can solve the short-term need and still give an amenity to one of the residents, but not necessarily encumber any future work, and this way we could maybe separate it and not muck up the grant application. I just throw that out there. I'm not sure if it's a possibility, but I just wanted to mention it.
All great questions, great discussion. We received that letter, and I think, I still have it hung up in my office. So it's a great example of this kiddo getting involved in local government and speaking up for her neighborhood parks. But I think all in all, for tonight's purpose, having clean resolution for submitting with our grant application is going to be the best point-wise for us. I agree with Mayor's comments about muddying the waters a bit for the grant committee. It's a very competitive grant process, and you're right, they may see how they're going to do a playground anyway, and they may not want to fund us for that reason. I do hear, the concern about the swing set going back eventually. All in all, we should look at a holistic design for the entire park. When we get playground designs done, they plan for the entire fall zone, and the swing sets are an important part of that. So I fear if we put a swing set in before the rest of the play structure, we may have to remove it. I don't recommend removing and placing another park, because with these play structures, they put the posts down in a pretty significant amount of concrete, and when you remove any kind of swing set, you're likely to bend it and damage it. And these are pretty expensive pieces of equipment depending on how big they are, and I would hate for us to damage something we just put in. So my recommendation would be, if you agree with the proposal to approve the resolution. If we don't get the grant, I can take a suggestion to Park Board, start there, in January, February, if we don't get the award, and kind of make a backup plan for Fernwood at that point of what we might want to do, and bring an amendment to commission for the swing set or what have you, to try to get a good backup plan. I don't want to make it a promise right now until I have time to work with the vendor to figure out a space that wouldn't work with the new design potentially. So that would be my recommendation, is to focus on the main resolution for now, but the swing set could be a discussion if we don't get the grant, absolutely.
Well, I think that's what the motion was, right? If we don't get the grant, then we would pursue the swing set. That's the way I understood it, Commissioner Colo.
Yeah, it's just making it official that that's the policy of this body, that we will, by next spring, we would expect to have a swing set installed. without giving direction as to how you do that, but it's the direction that we would like a swing set installed by the next construction season, so
Okay.
spring.
So yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
deductive logic, that's what you would be doing, because if we didn't get it, then we'd still be pursuing. If we did get it, then you would have a swing set installed.
Yep. So I'm willing to amend my motion, move to amend my motion to include just the original language seen in our packet.
Okay, we have a motion to amend the original motion. Second by Commissioner Chisholm. All right, discussion just on the amendment. Okay, none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. All right, we're back to the motion now that's on the table is the recommendation that staff presented to us, a nice, clean recommendation. Is there any further discussion on that? All right, not seeing any, I'll call for the vote. Oh, Commissioner Chisholm?
I got lost in the amendment.
All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. All right, Commissioner Colo.
So I move that we direct staff to make preparations to install a swing set at Farnwood Park in the spring of 2027 if we do not receive this grant.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Colo. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Bastian. All right, discussion on this motion. Yep, I mean, I'll just say, like, hey, we could reapply for this one again. You know, we can always hope and wait, and, you know, our children will be old people by the time we do it. They'll be our seniors. So I think sometimes you got to hedge your bet and just, you know, look to do things. And I think this is reasonable. We took one away. Folks are looking for one. And I'm confident that we can unwind this if all of a sudden staff comes to us and says, wait a minute. We have the most amazing idea that we didn't even consider tonight, and we're all open to that sort of innovation. So don't let it be a baseline direction, but we brought you on board for a reason, Nikki, because you got a lot of good ideas. So,
Thank you.
you know, we'll see what comes out of it. Anybody else? Oh, I thought you were looking down here. I'm like, I don't see anything. Mr. Gruchowski.
I just wanted to put it for your situational awareness. We also, I believe the letter mentioned Lions Club Park, which is in access to the person who wrote the letter. We are also looking to try to move that up in the CIP process to possibly get that installed with a full playground reconstruct this fall potentially, which would also provide a swing set that would be close in location to the person asking for a replaced swing set. So we are looking at doing that depending on how the CIP process turns out.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
that'll be helpful too.
Yes, it will. All right.
Keep on improving all the parks, I love it.
All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. All right. Commissioner Herzog, what agenda item are we on?
Just my favorite.
I lost my place in the papers here. Oh, it's item 11, adjournment. Who wants to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? We'll go with Commissioner Herzog.
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Swear
Wow.
it's fun.
There's a lot of excitement starting with that motion, and it just kind of. Okay, is there a second on that motion? Second by Commissioner Colo. See, that's the enthusiasm. All right, any discussion on this critical motion? Okay, not seeing anything. I will call for the vote to adjourn tonight's meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Adjourned.